Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play Team. This actual play uses the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu tabletop role-playing game rules by Chaos. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. While we try very hard to stick to language for all ages, listeners should know that this podcast may include mature themes. All content, including names, places, events, companies, and etc., that may bear resemblance to entities living or dead, is strictly coincidental. My name is Michael Diamond, and for tonight's game, I will be your keeper. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways podcast. I am your keeper, Michael, and I have assembled with me again my investigating crew for another episode of Masks of Nyarlathotep. We are in the England chapter, and I will introduce the cast and crew, or allow them to introduce themselves. To my right.
It's Lonnie. I'm playing Lawrence Edward Oliver Forsyth, who is making friends and influencing enemies.
Indeed you are. To his right.
This is Lillian Morgan. I play Lillian Lane.
At the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'm playing Jack Doyle, and I gotta tell you, Lonnie, I don't think you're making any friends here.
Especially not with the Reverend.
I tend to concur with that. To Jake's right.
This is James. I'll be playing Dr. Sigmund Tattenbach, and historically speaking, it is a very idea to anger the church in small English towns.
You know, you might not be wrong about that. To the doctor's right.
This is Tiffany. I play Maeve O'Shea, and more books. More books.
Indeed, you get another book to milk that's right up your alley. Yes. And then last but most certainly not least.
This is Alex. I'm playing Simon Granger, and I have a lot to confess, but not right now.
No, not right now. We have things to get to. Very good. So we'll raise the curtain tonight at the Laughing Horse Inn, as our investigators have gone back for lunch and perhaps to peruse the pages of a pilfered book.
Borrowed. We
can split hairs here, but you did literally sneak into someone's house and steal it.
Yeah, are you going to return it?
Yeah, it's only borrowed if we return it.
We haven't gotten to that part yet.
Was it exactly like you checked it out of a library?
You are around a table, the large table at the end of the inn here that was set up for you yesterday. And as you get settled, the folks behind the bar kind of whir into motion and begin, seeing to you as you need.
I would like to request that we, once we have gotten our food, that we abscond to our room so that we can discuss things in private.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this in front of, the locals.
Anybody?
They begin bringing food out to the group of you. You see a young man walk in, and he goes to the bar. Not someone you saw last night or this morning so far.
What's he look like?
He appears to be relatively tall, probably just a bit over 6'4". He's fairly well built. He wears a nice-looking jacket, has a sweater on underneath of it, blonde hair, kind of a well-defined face.
Is he like in his 20s? Good-looking guy.
I would say that he's a little above average. He's not a absolute knockout, Miss Lane, but he looks decent.
He looks pretty good for a farmer.
I don't think he's a farmer, based on how Mike described him.
They're all farmers.
He does not appear to be a farmer, no.
All right. It's my time to shine.
There you go.
I see the stranger walk in, and I kind of keep my eye on him from the table.
You see the bartender go to this man who's come in and he says, you hear him say, Lawrence, what can I get you? He orders a pint.
Does he sit at the bar or sit at a table?
Oh, he sits at the bar.
Fantastic. That's what I thought it might be, but did I hear him call him Lawrence and everything?
Yep, you did.
Okay. I look at the group and I told them I'd be up with them. I'd meet them up in the rooms. And I go to the bar and near Lawrence, but not like right next to him because that would be weird. Don't want to be all up in his grill.
Come now, Miss Lane. You're a very forthright woman.
According to Mr. Forsyth, that's what's going to get me into trouble.
He might not be wrong.
She's the woman who knows what she wants.
I, wait quietly at the bar for the innkeeper to assist me.
He looks at you. Oh, Miss Lane, is there something I can get you?
I look at Lawrence and I'll have whatever he's having.
He goes with a affable nature and pulls the tap. You all get your food and adjourn to the adjoining rooms where you can begin to plot and scheme in private. He sets the pint up for you.
Thank you.
So, are you enjoying the village?
I am. It is beautiful here. I had no idea how beautiful the English countryside over here was.
He seems to nod, and you see Lawrence seems to kind of nod along with him.
Just terrible thing about those dog attacks. So, I mean, you guys are very lucky that they haven't happened in a long while.
Yeah, we are. You see, he kind of stumbles over his words a bit. Yeah, it's been good that the constable got it taken care of.
Can I get a read on how Lawrence handled my comment?
That would be psychology.
I know. Oh my god. I haven't rolled yet, but oh my god. No,
That's beautiful.
Oh.
I looked at it, I'm like, this
Wow.
is gonna be amazing. So I failed so horribly. A 99 out of 99
Right.
versus 10.
Would you like to spend some luck?
Some luck on that.
Spend all your luck on that.
She's
Can I
gonna,
borrow some of yours?
so she's so good news. She's great at reading the room. Bad news is it's all in Braille.
Yeah.
Correct.
Dang. All right.
Time to shine, she said.
You see Lawrence give you a bit of a look, and he takes another pull from the pint that's been offered, and he says to the innkeep, he says, she's not thirsty. And he turns around and walks out.
Damn. I nod to the innkeeper and take my my pint upstairs. In failure. In sad failure.
You do a long walk of shame.
Yeah, I do.
Just a minute or so later, Miss Lane walks in. She looks a little depressed.
You look as things did not go well.
No. That was Lord Vane's son, and I was just trying to get a feel for him and how he feels about the animal attacks. It did not go well.
This is my shocked face.
That is not a 1920s statement.
Okay, fine. You don't say.
That's better. It's better. Yeah. Apparently, I should have just gone with the upfrontness and not the try to be sly.
I lay some stuff out on the table that I'm guessing is there that we've been using, and I will display my map of the area for people to see.
Ooh, he's made a map.
I will turn to Doyle. So have you taken the time to read over what I provided you?
But the stuff you just gave me a few minutes ago?
Oui.
Yeah, not yet. I haven't had a chance yet.
Yeah, I just handed you the slip of paper with the
Okay.
note on it.
Well, I'm trying not to look at it until we were someplace a little more private. But yeah, now I'll look at it.
Okay, so you're going to show him the slip of paper, yes?
Yes.
All right. I will show you that.
So it would seem that the Reverend has perhaps encountered this creature before.
Okay.
I do not.
Yeah.
I do not suppose that he mentioned it in the conversation that you had.
No, in fact, he tried to make it very clear that he thought it was nothing but a dog.
That lying snake.
Yeah, they all seem to know something we don't.
Don't be so hard on the Reverend. I'm sure he's trying to protect his own mind. Play it off as it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly not covering for the man who rebuilt his church.
Right.
Both the constable and the vicar were not being as straightforward as they could have been. They're both hiding something, and I have a feeling it's the same thing.
This is a small town. Everyone's hiding their secrets. But everybody knows everyone else's secrets here.
You made it sound like they were covering for the veins.
If the local landowners do in fact own all of the local property and have some money, well, then it would make sense for them to defend them.
Or maybe they're donating all the money because they know they've done something wrong. You know, like a bribe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're really grasping at straws here. We don't know. We still don't know what's going on. Who's at fault? What's going on? But we need to do some more investigation. Maeve, I have that wolfsbane you asked for.
Oh, great. It sounds like it'll come in handy.
And I found this up on the path up to the Tor. And I pull out the piece of cloth. Looks like it's from a woman's dress.
Interesting.
Hey, Doctor, what would you say that stain on there is?
Let me see it. I'll examine it over a few minutes.
So, Doctor, if you'd like a thorough examination of it, this is and I know you've got some stuff in your doctor's bag here that might be able to assist with this, so you could make a chemistry roll.
Chemistry. Can I do biology?
Yeah, I suppose. Nice.
Nice.
Excellent. 69 under 75.
Right. So just examining it for a few minutes, it doesn't take you too terribly long with just a bit of the some of the chemicals that you keep in your bag. Although it does just momentarily, briefly change the wonderful food aroma to something different. Just from the reaction that you get from it, you're fairly certain that is dried blood.
That's what I thought. It would appear to be dried blood, Jack.
Yeah, I kind of assume so. I wonder if the father of the missing girl would recognize this fabric.
Where did you find this?
It was caught on a pole up towards the top of the Tor.
If I may I?
Yeah.
I just want to kind of get a look at the material and like the make of it. Does this look like something a commoner would be wearing, or does this look like higher or expensive material?
No, this is definitely a higher grade cloth than commoners. Such a classist word, but yes, it's likely that the thread count alone in the fabric that's been used here, it's not something that would be normally produced. Someone made this out of some fairly fine cloth.
I will turn to Lillian, and I'll kind of hold it out. Please correct me if I am mistaken, but this seems like a relatively fashionable slip. I'll kind of hold it out.
Am I able to identify that, Mike, from the piece of cloth?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that you're a pretty fair hand at determining the quality of cloth. So I would say, yeah, it definitely reads to you, the lace work reads to you as something that's a little bit higher quality.
That looks like somebody that doesn't do farming every day would wear, or housework every day. Bet you I can name somebody that could belong to.
The question I would have was of the people in this area. These Vanes seem to be the most wealthy, no?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any women amongst them? I'm assuming there is a lady of the house, or
Lord Vane has a daughter in her 20s. Should we go pay the Vanes a visit? You just like show up.
you are going to attempt to correct for your previous advances?
Yeah. We should probably do a little bit more investigation on the Vanes, so.
I do not disagree. I feel as if the townsfolk are kind of settled in their ways. I did not spend any time traveling to the is it a castle?
Yeah.
Castle. To the castle proper, but perhaps it might be worth taking a look around.
I agree with that.
I do not necessarily know what the protocol would be, but perhaps one as yourself could request such an audience with...
As swimmingly as that went last time.
Well, a happenstance meeting in the bar is not necessarily a formal audience with Lillian. I'll kind of puff my chest out a bit when I say it.
Are you making fun of me?
No, I'm trying to bolster you.
Oh,
this
are
is
you?
reassurance.
Or it means that we're gonna get the door slammed in our face.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, we will learn something.
But is it a big enough castle we can sneak into it? Do they have an underground?
What are you gonna do? Swim the moat?
The doctor chuckles to himself while pouring himself a drink in the corner.
I remain absolutely stone-faced.
I'm sure they have a dungeon for you.
No. Like, I'm not saying they have a moat. There's no crocodile swimming around to some moat in their castle, but they've got to have like a lower inch. Oh, do they? Do they?
And you haven't visited yet, so
Right.
Oh,
We can't
that's
say for
true.
certain.
Okay, well, if there's no crocodiles and no moat, there should be a lower entrance somewhere. I mean, I don't
It's
know.
probably an estate.
So while they're kind of going on about this, I'm going to kind of slide over to Maeve and flip open the book and kind of hold it near her.
don't do it.
What do you make of this language?
It's too late. She's already got the scent.
Yeah. Snatch. Bite your fingers.
Can you tell me what you make of this language?
Let me see. Do I know the language, Michael?
You know it because you don't know it. So you know it because this is not Latin.
Oh.
But you know it because this is Greek.
Oh, that would be Greek.
Yep, and have the Rosetta Stone handy.
Can I actually read any of it or no?
Unless you have Greek as a language, then no.
No, I have Latin.
Greek and Latin are different languages. It does make sense why the book would be in the Reverend's house, or on his person for that matter. Because he probably does, at least to some extent.
Right. Well, the book is written in Greek, which I cannot read. I recognize the language, but
I do not suppose any of you know Greek.
It's
No.
Greek to me.
Okay, then I just kind of slide it back into my pocket.
is it Dr. Pierce? Yeah, he's a doctor, right?
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
Dr. Pierce might, but I don't know. I don't know what languages he speaks.
He's also quite a bit of ways in London.
Yes, he is.
I do not necessarily know that this is something that will branch into additional investigation. It is simply an acquisition. If it has no value to us, then
Mike, does it look handwritten?
It does. This is you. The feeling you get really is this is a journal. This is someone's journal.
Yeah. It may be an acquisition, but it's also handwritten. So, I don't know. But we also may be at an impasse because none of us knows Greek.
It is of no concern. So you find things. What about these veins?
People at the castle?
Oui.
I don't know. I mean, if we need to go to the castle, we can go to the castle. I suggest, though, that if we do, we all need to have some wolfsbane. I have a sneaky suspicion.
Do you just wear wolfsbane on you? Or how does that work?
You can keep it on you. You can make it in tea. If you want to poison someone, it may or may. I mean, here's the thing: is we're going into uncharted territory, so I'm not exactly 100% sure how wolfsbane works 100%, like with a werewolf. And the information is spotty because, a lot of it's legend. And maybe that's all we're up against, but considering, our past, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards anything is possible.
Yeah, so maybe just wearing it on us, or...
Well, what we can do is we can maybe find some books and look up legends and see what it says, because sometimes they do point us in the right direction and sometimes they don't.
Like one of your books you already have, because I don't think this town has a huge library for us to go look into.
Yeah, it really doesn't, and I'm pretty sure I don't have anything on werewolves.
Simone, you would know that the village has no library. There's no... The closest is likely
The vicar's office?
The vicar's office and the villager's bookshelves, if they have one.
I do not think that research is going to unravel what is going on here.
I think we just need to go talk to Lord Vane and his family, because his son Lawrence was clearly seen one of the nights when that person was killed, that woman was killed. He was seen running from the scene.
And again, since I do not necessarily know what the protocol is here, but perhaps if you could speak to the innkeeper, find out how to request an audience, and if you need someone to deliver a letter of intent, I will happily go.
Okay, I will go talk to the innkeeper.
I go get my usher clothes.
You hop on out of the room and step downstairs, and you see the innkeeper wiping down the bar. Miss Lane, did you bring the glass back?
For the love of gosh.
Well, it's all right, Joe. We'll get it. What did you need?
I was wondering, how does one get an audience with Lord Vane?
Oh, an audience? Well, he's not unapproachable, no matter what people might say. If I was to ask, if I were to go to your states, how would I get an audience with one of your governors?
One of our governors?
Yeah.
I'm assuming they would ring somebody and ask their assistant if they could have an audience with them.
He nods. You have to understand, Lord Arthur Vane is a peer of the realm. He's someone who sits in Parliament. He's a fairly important figure in his own right, when he decides to be. But other than that, he's just a normal flesh and blood man like you or I. So if I wanted to contact him, I would ring the castle, or I might send a letter and see if you could have an audience with him.
Is there a phone in the inn?
There is.
I think I might be able to utilize that so I can...
For you, Miss Lane, anything.
Really?
Yeah, we're always happy to help. Now, he kind of pulls the divider up so he can step out. Now, I can't guarantee what they'll say, but you're welcome to ring them.
Is there anything I should know about Lord Vane that I might not have already learned, other than he's very good to the community, he has a son and daughter, he was married at one point?
I guess I don't understand the question. What do you need to know about him that you don't know?
Is there anything that I could say that would cause him not to want to meet with me?
I'm sure that there is. Listen, I don't mean to give you the runaround at all.
Sure.
I don't know what you're on about. It's clear that you and your friends are up to something. You've been talking to people and poking around in here, and that's perfectly fine. There's no law against that. But I've already had a talk with the constable who's come in a huff about you and the group poking around on things, and I could see out the window that the vicar wasn't too happy after you left, so he's on about something. And just last night you were talking about what happened to those folks, those poor people who were ripped apart. You keep uncovering stones and you keep finding you're making people angry. Are you sure you want to keep going?
At this point, we have to. We want to uncover the truth. And we're not here to make the townspeople angry. That is not our intention whatsoever. That might be Lawrence's intention. That's not my intention.
But you are obviously upsetting people. So when you ask me, are there things you shouldn't say? I think you've kind of figured it out.
Talking about the people that died from the dog attacks.
Well, do you think the Vane family wants more people from London scraping around, trying to find what the truth of the story is? Not that we haven't had a whole gaggle of people here in the past few months doing the same thing.
You have?
Yes, we've had 2 reporters up.
Where?
From London. They came up 2 or 3 days after the attack happened. We had 2 detectives up from Scotland Yard about it. It was the week later. And they put, a little undue work pressure on the constable, but he saw it through and shot it, and things have been done. So if you mean to go and ruffle the veins up, then you're on your own reconnaissance. I'm happy to give you the phone. Just careful how deep you step in the water there.
I take a deep breath. As I said, it's not our intention to make anybody angry or to keep dredging up the past. I thought these murders happened. This is me out of character.
Mm-hmm.
I thought these happened a year ago, not just a few months ago.
Yeah, it's a year ago, but this is a small English town. It's probably the only thing anybody will remember for the next 20 years.
Right. But people have come up in the past. That's kind of what he's bringing up, is people have occasionally come up here in the past since the murders have happened, and they've inquired about them. And when you put it in the scope of a town that's probably less than 100 people, it's not even a town, it's a village for the most part. You've gotten the drift over the past couple of days that what most people in the village want to do is get beyond this, because the tourism that they get is what really helps the town continue.
And did Jackson Elias come here or no?
You don't believe so.
Okay.
The note that he put on the clue that you found at the scoop basically said that it sounded like it was something he needed to investigate. He puts the phone in front of you.
Yeah, I'm a little wary about going. I don't want to keep making the townspeople angry. That's me. I'm all for pushing ahead, but we do have to talk to the Vanes. They're going to burn us alive, aren't they? All right. I'm going to pick up the phone.
Okay. You pick up the phone.
And I do whatever I need to do to ring the Vane residence. Or
the innkeeper assists you a bit, and you hear a tone on the line for a little bit, and then you hear a male voice pick up.
Really?
Vane residence.
I wasn't expecting a male voice to answer. Hi, this is Lillian Lane. I'm visiting in town for a brief stint, and we had heard quite a bit about Lord Vane and his beautiful estate. And my compatriots and I were wondering if we could come and take a tour and speak with Lord Vane.
The voice on the other end of the line says, visitors? Plum Castle is not a tourist destination, of course.
My father is an art collector back in the States. At least he's well known in the States for, besides that and horse racing. So I was hoping I could come take a look at some of Lord Vane's collection. Because I am also an admirer of artwork.
Actually, Morgan, why don't you roll me Persuade?
Oh my gosh.
To see the tapestries.
Yeah,
To see the tapestry.
that's what I'm trying to avoid.
Oh, 26 60.
I really want to look at his etchings.
I really want to look at the art. Yep.
Lord Vane is an equestrian as well. He would be happy to discuss horses with you. You said your last name was Lane?
Correct.
My name is Giles, ma'am. I'm one of Lord Vane's assistants. Are you staying there then at the Laughing Horse?
I am.
Wonderful. Let me speak with the Lord and I'll see if he can arrange a time, perhaps. How long will you be with us?
I can't be sure. I know it's going to be at least another couple days.
Very well. The Lord is here rather than in London at the moment, so perhaps he can fit you in at some point tomorrow.
Great. I guess if you could just ring back the Laughing Horse and let me know a time, that would be fantastic.
Of course.
Great.
I shall do so immediately.
Thank you, Mr. Giles. Hang up the phone.
You see the innkeeper just kind of stare at you. Well, that went well. He takes the phone back from you.
Oh, he knows I was totally lying, too. I just, give him a small smile and tread back up the stairs. And I don't look back, because I probably feel like he's boring his eyes into me.
I mean, you're free to feel whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
So, back in the room, Doctor, you're 100% certain now that the film that's on that cloth is definitely blood, but this cloth is at least, it's got to be over 4 months old.
This has been outside for a while, and it is definitely blood. Of course, not to be able to tell from who, but to find a blood-soaked cloth in the area cannot be coincidence.
What is the name of this Lady Vane, this young woman? Do we know who she is?
Eloise.
In my meanderings about the town, have I seen like a well-dressed 20-year-old woman walking around?
You have not. No, you would have probably picked that out fairly quickly. There is a large gulf in the ages here. You have noticed that. So you have the elderly, like 50 plus. You have folks who are late 30s to like mid 40s, and then you have a couple of kids.
And there was that couple that we saw, but
the two ladies that came into the bar.
Almost like historically, a lot of people who were in their late 20s to early 30s aren't, or should be in their late 20s to early 30s, might have gone off and gotten themselves killed somehow.
Couldn't
that's
tell you
morbid.
Well, it's also true.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. A whole World War I thing.
Yeah. Miss Lane looks happier than she did last time.
Seems that way.
We will be getting called back about what time we can go visit Lord Vane.
I look down at my outfit and go change again.
And talk about artwork and horses.
I stop at the door. I just keep walking.
I'm going to go downstairs.
You head downstairs.
Go to the bar, get something to drink.
They set you up with the drink. What do you, he says, what's the afternoon poison for you?
Whiskey?
Oh, easily. He takes a bottle of whiskey out. Finest Irish whiskey I could have.
Excellent.
Your lady friend there, she's quite the dabbler. She's going to get you all into a heap of trouble.
To be perfectly honest with you, I think everybody else except me is going to get us all into a heap of trouble.
Just some free advice. There's nothing left of this story.
Well, I believe you. It's my same assessment. However, as long as there's some kind of threat for somebody to pull on, they're going to keep coming. So if I can manage to wrap this whole thing up in a nice little package and tuck it away somewhere, maybe people will stop coming and asking about it.
You've talked to probably about everybody here in the town by now. I'd be happy if the story just left people's memories. It was real difficult the first 6 months to get anybody to come up here.
Do you know what I used to do back in the States?
What's that?
I was a private detective.
So one of those Scotland Yard types, huh?
Well, a little bit more on the chasing cheating husbands and that kind of thing. But I can tell you that nobody wants to hear about something that's going on unless there's blood involved. It's just the way it is. But as soon as there's blood involved, then you can't beat them off the stick.
I don't know that England here is the same way. Maybe. Hard to say.
People are the same everywhere.
You see the gentleman that was here at the bar come back in through the front door? He kind of quickly, slinks up to the bar. Is she gone? He sits down. Yes, Lawrence, she's gone. He puts what looks like a half-drunken beer back up on the table. He nods at you and takes his hat off and begins drinking his beer again.
Avoiding somebody?
Yeah, there was a... Well, wait. She was an American. You're an American. She must be with you.
It's quite possible. Was she forward and abrasive?
Yeah, you know her?
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to drink my beer in peace.
That's fair. Yeah, modern women nowadays.
That's special.
Jack, you see Simon come downstairs.
I nod to Simone.
I'll just kind of head over to Jack, who has at this point seen my going out outfit. I'm just going to go on a bit of a nature hike. I should be back before dark.
Well, you enjoy yourself.
If I'm not back before dark, assume I'll be here in the morning. If I'm not here in the morning, well, I'm just going to tip my hat. Is that guy back?
He is back.
Okay, I'll avoid him. I'll
Okay.
avoid looking him in the eye
Okay.
because he
Yeah,
definitely saw me with.
Yep.
I'll turn back to the guy and I'll say, Jack Doyle.
He extends his hand and says, Lawrence Vane.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Would you allow me to buy you a drink to make up for my companion?
Oh, no, I don't drink too much during the day, just a beer after lunch.
Yeah, fair enough.
What's got you here in the country?
To be perfectly honest with you, we are taking care of the last wishes of a departed friend.
What were those?
He was a bit of a novelist. He wrote a lot of books. He wanted to follow up on a couple of stories that he was looking into. We just want to tie up the rest of them so that he can rest in peace.
What stories?
Some nonsense about the dog attacks here.
I'm sure that there's nothing more to those stories, and you probably have heard from a handful of people already.
I'm inclined to agree, but as long as we follow all the leads and finish and tie everything up in a nice little package, hopefully this thing will go away and we can all go on with our lives.
Well, good luck. The innkeeper says, I just pop him back real quick. I've got to grab some food. Listen, Mr. Doyle, was it?
Yes.
He leans in. If you don't mind me saying so, you Americans need to learn to have a bit of a softer touch here in our land. Nobody here is that straightforward. At least nobody that wears a dress.
She's a little bit of an outlier even in the States.
Do you really feel like you can button this up?
I'm going to do everything I can to do so. Unfortunately, some of my companions have made it a little bit more difficult difficult because they can't hold their tongues very well. I would say that anything that can help wrap this all up would be a great help to us all, the town and us.
He finishes his beer. I have to be getting back.
Well, you have a good day. And if you don't mind me asking, what is it you do around here?
What do I do? I'm the son of a lord. That's what I do.
I'm not even going to pretend I know what that is, but...
Well, I go hunting. I fence for enjoyment. I ride horses. I enjoy life.
Oh, nice. You hunt, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of game around here?
There's a fair amount, yeah. You have to go out a little ways, or if you're going to go pheasant hunting, you might have to go a bit north. But there's a fair amount, yeah.
Well, you have a good day.
You too. He tips his hat to you and then strolls on out. So those of you in the rooms there finish up your lunch. Doctor, you realize that there is someone you have not spoken to about the goings-on, and that would be the Osgood family. You have not paid a visit there yet. It picks at your memory, Sigmund, because Simone showed you the map that he made, and he showed where there's a marker there for where the Osgood farm is.
Oh, they still have it. It's in the room.
Probably finishing the last of my lunch and drink and examining the map, kind of point at it with the tip of my knife. There's one little place we need to talk to. We need to go speak to the Osgoods. I'm sure they will have an interesting perspective on things. But we must do it delicately. It would be unseemly for us to be asked to leave town or to find all of our avenues exhausted because no one wishes to speak to us.
Well, that's kind of where we're headed at this point.
There, and I didn't include it in the shot. I just kind of copied and pasted what I got. But there would be a footnote next to the veterinary clinic marking that says like dogs ?
Well, Doctor, I guess he once done eating and everything, kind of stands up, brushes himself off in the mirror, and well, who's going to join me? Maeve, would you like to go?
I'm gonna see what I can find as far as werewolf legends and stuff in my books, if I have anything.
Wunderbar. Miss Lane, would you like to accompany me? Perhaps to Mr. Forsyth?
And to continue to inflict our tongue lashings on the people of this town, I'm in.
Why should we stop now?
Why not? We're going on full throttle.
Miss Lane and Sigmund off to the Osgood house.
Indeed.
Yep.
Awesome. Simone, you were heading out, and you're just going to check out the outskirts of town, or?
I'm going to head north, out of town toward the Vane estate, and try to get a feel for, like, you know, how much of the area is fenced in, how much of it's kind of open country. What I'm trying to do is get to a point where I can see the estate. So if there's maybe an elevated position I can get to give me like a lay of the grounds. Like, I don't know if is it like when you say castle, do you mean just like the building kind of resembles a castle, or is there like an outer wall and a keep? Like, what are we talking?
Okay, so it's not too difficult to see if you take a stroll out that way.
Mm-hmm.
So the Plum Castle itself stands on a stone bluff. It's about 200 feet above the village. There's a winding road you see that goes up that way. You can get a idea of kind of its general makeup, but there does not appear to be like a stone wall or a moat.
Sure.
But it's a stone castle. I mean, it's impressive in its size.
So is it just like one building, or?
It appears to be an estate. So there are grounds.
Okay.
But, I mean, it would depend on how close you're going to get, because you'd have to go up the winding road and then get on the grounds themselves before you could actually do any deeper investigation.
I don't want to get too close, but I want to get I guess, close enough to be able to kind of pick people out with maybe binoculars or be able to see some of the other
Sure.
structures.
Okay, so let me do this a couple of ways.
Sure.
Why don't we, because I'm assuming you're going to want to, relatively speaking, be out of view when you're doing this, yes?
Yes.
So go ahead and give me a stealth roll to, at the very least, be unobtrusive.
Yep, that's the plan.
And then after that, you can give me a spot hidden roll, and I will give you advantage on the spot hidden roll because you're using, obviously, a binoculars or that sort of thing.
Okay. Hard success on the stealth, 30 over 75.
Okay, so you are minding your own business. Just a tourist.
Oh, man.
It's advantage, though, so it's okay.
So I get to roll again?
You do.
Hey, 32 out of 50.
We'll
Let's
take
just
the
forget
second
that
die.
first one happened.
Yeah, the 99. Yeah, you don't want to. So you see a couple things within, say, the hour that you spend scoping the place out. One, it's really tough to see whatever else is on the grounds themselves because it sets up on a high bluff. But you can tell that there are structures up there which are not just the castle. You see a young man, the same young man you saw in the inn. He eventually goes up and into the castle, and with your spot hidden there, you see that he is greeted when he gets back by a couple of what look like servants who attend him as he walks into the castle.
As far as the grounds, do I see like groundskeepers? Do I see staff? Or is it pretty much like
you see groundskeepers? No, you see groundskeepers and staff. So there are probably a good dozen or so servants. You're thinking.
Okay. Are they all dressed like formally, or are some of them dressed like outside workers? Or
yeah, you would say that they are dressed to their work type.
All right. Well, I settle in my current position unless I feel like I can get a better vantage point somewhere, and I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch and jot things down. If I'm assuming that my location is out of the way, and I won't necessarily be disturbed. And I can, kind of bird watch.
Okay, sounds good. Miss O'Shea, why don't you give me an idea specifically of what you're looking for in your tomes?
Pretty much, I'm looking for things that reference how to, use wolfsbane as far as werewolves and other things to protect yourself.
Okay. So give me an hour spent occulting, as it were.
That is 27 out of 83.
That is a hard success. That's probably close to an extreme for you. That's close, but a hard success is pretty well good. So wolfsbane, generally for werewolves, at least in your repertoire of written knowledge there, it can be used a couple of ways. It was rumored to be juiced into a dye of sort and then tipped on arrows back in the olden times, and then the werewolves would be shot with them. And then it also talks about, in modern day or the current times at that point being, probably between 16 and 1700, it's talk about the advent of silver, and they will use silver shot to damage them or to wound the beasts.
Right, I think we talked about that, but I didn't know if anybody had any silver. Better yet, we don't even have a way to melt it down.
Well, there is, as Lawrence mentioned, I believe on that episode, there is a wheelwright here, or at least a building of one. So there is probably a forge somewhere.
Right. As if we weren't going to look suspicious enough.
Well, you don't want to break into somebody's house and start smelting pullets?
I'm gonna just make a dye or a mixture of the wolfsbane that we can, like I can put on my knife, or, the doctor can put on his cane or whatever. Being very careful not to poison myself.
Right. You're going to need water. You're going to need salt. You're going to need a couple of things. You'll probably need something to squeeze all the wolfsbane into, and then yeah, you might need some of the doctor's tools to do it correctly.
Right, because I'll need a cloth that's going to be thin enough
Right.
that I can do that. And then I guess I'll go down to the bar and ask for like a small bowl of salt, and if I can get a pitcher of water.
Yeah, no, they set you up just fine with it. All right, so you will be attending to your die after doing some book work. So we will turn to Miss Lane and Sigmund as they arrive at the Osgood farm. It's just beyond the village, maybe about a half a mile or so west. It's a nice walk. The remains of the afternoon are still at least a bit in decent shape, although it looks like there might be another storm coming. You can see that the farm seems to be at least in somewhat of a decent shape, but you don't see anybody outside at this point.
Should we go to the door?
I was just going to ask, with the delicate situation, do you think a rap on the door would be appropriate?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. I don't know how else we're going to talk to them. They're not outside. I'm going to go up to the door, and instead of rapping, I'm going to knock softly.
You see a woman probably in her mid-30s. She's wearing a house coat. She seems to have a child attached to her in the way that, toddlers are very clingy. Another child behind her kind of through the crack in the door. Can I help you?
Hi, I'm sorry to bother you. My name is Lillian Lane, and this is my compatriot. This is Dr. Sigmund.
I won't leave you there on the stoop. Just come on in. She opens the door and steps back. You can see that her two children, the second one now kind of comes and clings on the other side of her skirt. What brings you by the farm? Are you here for perhaps a pig or something?
No, but thank you for asking. I apologize, this might be kind of a hard subject to speak about, but my fellow compatriots and I are in town at the last request of a friend that recently passed away. They wanted us to investigate the rabid dog that went through the town.
She smooths one of the kids, the child on her right. She smooths the hair a bit on her head. Both children are girls, young girls. Can't be more than 4 and 6 respectively.
And I'm sure this might be this is probably painful to talk about, so I'm really, really sorry.
And you would be well compensated for your time.
I just look over at Sigmund like, what? No.
Why don't you, Miss Lane, give me a charm or persuade roll, your choice.
Like an extreme success, a 12 out of 65.
Extreme success, 12 under 65. So she smooths the hair of her children left and then right and tries to kind of takes in a breath and holds it a bit. And she says, George woke one night after hearing something in the barn, and I kept telling him to come back to bed. He wouldn't listen. He was the sort of man who didn't listen. And he went and he got his shotgun because he was set to deal with whatever it was. And a moment later, he's outside. And then a moment after that, there's the sound of that gun going off. I'll never forget it. And then I heard him scream. I never heard him scream in my life before then. Not like that. So I went to the window and I saw this hunched, hairy thing. It was hunched over him. It was, I can't put words to it.
That is okay, Frau. You do not need to go any further.
It was as tall as a man. It ran howling into the woods. And by the Lord's divine grace, I swear, it was not a wolf, it was a demon.
So it was running on two legs?
Yeah, I'd say she wipes a tear from her eyes. The baby toddler at her right-hand side starts crying, and she picks the child up.
I offer her my handkerchief.
She takes it.
We do not mean to bring up any unfortunate or painful memories for you, Fräulein. We are just doing our job, doing our part to perhaps give you peace of mind.
I touch her shoulder, with one of my hands, whatever hand or whatever shoulder that the baby is not slinking against. Yeah, I'm really sorry for your loss. I can't imagine, what it's like to have two young ones and your husband no longer around, and I'm sure he was a wonderful man.
We are doing everything in our power. We were sent here, as we said, by a friend that we lost. And your story, it is horrible. You seem to disagree with what was said by the constable and the vicar, that it was not a dog. I am inclined to believe you. We will do everything in our power to find out what it is and stop it if it is still out there.
I think George would appreciate you all looking into it. He survived France, he survived the war, and came home to this. She puts her hand on yours, Miss Lane, and you see that the child that was on the left half of her skirt, just reflexively reaches out and grabs onto you.
I smile down at the child.
Well, if you both don't mind too much, I have a few things to look after.
Well, we will leave you to what you need to get done.
Taking the cue from Miss Lane, if she gets up, I also get up and make my way to the door.
You guys both get up and head towards the door. And assumably head back to the inn. Simone, how long are you staying in your perch, as it were?
Basically, when the sun starts going down, I want to get a feel for how well lit the estate is. Whether or not they keep lights on inside, or whether or not the grounds are lit at all. Because I mean, if it's pitch black and I can't see anything, there's no reason for me to stay. But if I still have visibility,
yeah, you stay out until it gets dark out, and there is very little visible light. There are a couple of lights, it seems, near the front door, but it doesn't look like the estate grounds themselves are lit. And the wind picks up too, and it does get a bit cold.
Last night was scary, but I was ready for it. I have my overcoat and my hat pulled down. So I'll wait until it gets dark, and then I will take that opportunity to make my approach and get a better lay of the land. I'm not necessarily going to go up to any buildings or, any paths necessarily, but I do want to kind of prowl the grounds a bit.
There is realistically one path to get there.
Okay.
There's one road. And so prowling your way up there isn't difficult in the dark, that's for sure. I think, though, we'll save that for next week. So we will draw this session to a close. Again, we want to thank all of our supporters, our Patreon supporters. We can't say thank you enough, so we'll just keep saying it. And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. And our patrons, hopefully we'll talk to you in the next pre-show fistfight, which proved to be exciting. So thank you so much, and everybody have a wonderful rest of your day or night or wherever this recording finds you.